This Monday, December 11th, NBA Betting Picks edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Monday, December the 11th, currently 11:06 on the East Coast. Here to get into the 13-game schedule in the association here tonight. And joining me, as usual, I got my guy here with me, the superstar of the show, the villain himself. It's Terrell Furman Jr. Terrell, how you feeling this Monday morning, brother?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. We got the end of a pretty solid regular season tournament. I think it was a pretty decent start. We'll see what happens next year, what adjustments they make. But I enjoy a weekend in Vegas. I wasn't able to make it this year, so let's do it again in Vegas next year, fellas. I'm trying to go back.
Yeah, hopefully we all of us can get out there. I know this year we were trying to get out there, but it just didn't work out with the timing and everything. But hopefully next season the NBA Gambling Podcast group can definitely get out there for the in-season semifinal and finals. But yeah, you're right. It was a lot of fun watching. Not only in Vegas the semifinals and the finals, but all throughout the tournament as well. The group stage, quarterfinals last week. So I think overall it was a huge success. So congrats to the Lakers. The first one to get it done. They hoist the first, I guess, quote unquote, NBA Cup. And I think they'll be back next year as well for the in-season tournament. So not a lot of action, at least over the weekend. A lot of teams did have rest this weekend, so they should all be ready to go. We got 13 games to get through here, Terrell. So let's just dive right into it, my man. First game on the board here, we'll go over to the Motor City. The Indiana Pacers, they are traveling from Vegas to Detroit to take on the Pistons here. Currently, the Pacers are a 7-point road favorite here with a total of 246.5. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Indiana Pacers, Kendall Brown, two-way contract. Andrew Nembhard is going to be out for this game. He's dealing with a right knee bone bruise he suffered in the semifinals of the in-season tournament. Aaron Nesmith is going to be questionable for this game. He has a right hip bruise. Jalen Smith continues to be out as well for the Indiana Pacers. For the Detroit Pistons, Marvin Bagley III is doubtful. Jalen Duren is ruled out. Monte Morris is ruled out as well in this game. Obviously, we saw the Pacers lose to the Lakers in the finals of the in-season tournament. I think that, Terrell, get your thoughts on this. If there was ever a letdown spot for the Indiana Pacers, I think this is the ultimate spot here, having to go from Vegas. Maybe they went back home and then travel to Detroit to play the Pistons. What do you think about this game? Pacers -7 in favor of, or in favorite over the Pistons.
I guess that's going to be the thing to look at. Is what's the layoff between these teams that played in Vegas and everybody that didn't. But this Detroit team sucks, man. Like,
yeah,
they're scrappy at times, but they're just so bad. And I mean, at the very least, I know Indiana's going to put up points. I know Indiana's going to put up points. I mean, Detroit should put up points too because Indiana's defense isn't anything. But a total of 246.5. I just got to assume that Indiana's going to run away with this one. I mean, the issue really is without Jalen Duren, you're losing a little bit of rim protection there. So now you're going with Bagley, who you said is questionable, or is he playing?
Doubtful.
So, yeah, you're losing Duren and Bagley. It looks like you got beef stew, and that's about it for on the inside. And you're gonna need something on the inside to handle Bruce Brown, to handle Obi Toppin, to handle Miles Turner, to handle Tyrese Halliburton when he drives to the basket. Like you're going to need a whole bunch of other things. I mean, give me Indiana -7.5. This feels real chalk and it feels really easy, but Detroit's just really, really bad, man. They're really, really bad. I mean, maybe this is the spot, Indiana coming off of Vegas, for Detroit to finally get a win, but I'll take the L if it is. I think that this is a spot where Indiana gets up, especially after losing that game the way they did to the Lakers. If they beat the Lakers, I might have been on Detroit here, but
Yeah.
because they lost that game, I'm gonna go Indiana.
Yeah, I think that it just worries me that offensively they just are not very good. Are the Detroit Pistons the second worst offensive rated team over the last 5 games in the entire association? And defensively, they haven't been very good either. I mean, they're right around league average, or sorry, right below league average as far as defense over the last 5 games. But I just don't think they have enough horses to keep up of the offense of the Indiana Pacers, like we've seen all throughout the season, also during the in-season tournament as well. So I'll lean with the Pacers here as well. I think Kaysen mentioned it. You probably just want to look at the Pacers team total to go over. That number's around 127 and a half in this game. Do you have any thoughts on the total of 246 and a half?
I'm trying to figure out why it's dropping. It opened up at 250. I guess 250 was way too much for people. Now it's at 246 and a half. But I mean, it's Indiana. I don't know how. I'm not at a point where I'm ready to just start taking unders with Indiana yet. So give me an over.
All right. Any player props we're looking at in this game?
I mean, Hallie assists, Cade assists. I expect to see points. So those are two easy plays. Uh, I mean, Obi Toppin points has to be in there today with just Duran and Bagley probably not playing. Like they're running out of rim protection there. I really don't know. I'm curious on the lineup with those two bigs not playing. Who else is even helping anchoring the paint for them? So, yeah, I would go with Obi Toppin. I think it's a nice Obi Toppin day for him to get a bunch of points in the paint, some dunks, put on a highlight reel, and Indiana route to a win.
I see 13 and a half for Obi Toppin's points prop today. Bogdanovich interests me. He's come back and played pretty well for the Pistons. 2 games, the first 2 games he returned from injury, 22 points in each of those games. Did have a down night against the Orlando Magic, but that was a game that they got absolutely blown out by the Magic. He only scored 9 points in that game. So I think consistently offensively, at least a shooter, a guy that can also create his own shot, get to the free throw line as well. That's Bogdanovich. He's at 21 and a half in this game. But you already mentioned the players. I'm not going to regurgitate about Hallie and Miles Turner and their props here as well. Anything else for this game?
No, I'm good.
All right, let's get over to the next game of the night. That's going to be the Washington Wizards. They are headed to Philly to take on the Sixers. Sixers currently sitting as a 11.5-point favorite with a total of 244 in this game. Looking at the injury report, excuse me, for both of these teams. Let's start here with the Washington Wizards. Johnny Davis, left calf strain. He is out. Daniel Gafford is questionable here tonight with a right hip contusion. And then for the Sixers, Joel Embiid is questionable, but I did see that he did participate in shoot around this morning. He's dealing with left knee soreness, and that is pretty much it for the Philadelphia 76ers. I believe this is the third matchup already between these two teams this season. And I know we'll talk about Joel Embiid's domination against the Wizards here in a second, but I'm trying to pull up the numbers and to see how the Sixers have done against the Wizards. So they're 2-0 straight up, 1-1 against the spread, and 2-0 to the over. They won the first game 146-128 at home, and then they went on the road as a 10.5-point favorite. Didn't cover the number, but they put up another 131 points to 126 of the Wizards here. But they're back at home. 11.5 is a number here. Terrell, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same handicap as what I said last time when I took the 76ers. The Wizards randomly show up for this game. Like, they randomly get up for the 76ers. I just can't tell you which game it's going to be. I don't know. I don't know which game. It's random. It's completely random. I don't know which game it's going to be that the Wizards randomly get up for this game, but there are games where the Wizards go out here and not only cover like they did the last time out, but sometimes get the win outright. However, this Wizards team sucks. They stink. They're terrible. They're quote unquote best player hasn't shown up at all this season, and then the other player is more worried about Fashion Week than he is about playing basketball. So I just don't even know. I don't know how you can back this Washington team. Like, I currently always try to find ways to be contrarian and get behind this Wizards team, but you can't. This team stinks. Yeah, give me Philly and give me the over. I mean, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think Philly at home this season, 8-3 straight up, 8-3 against the spread, 8-3 to the over. The three teams that they lost to were the Pacers. That was that second game of those, back-to-back same opponents that they played. They lost to the Boston Celtics, who were in a revenge spot, and then they lost to I believe it was the Cavaliers by 3 points in that game that went to overtime. But other than that, against lesser competition at home, they've been taking care of business here. So with Embiid participating in shoot around here tonight, this morning, I believe that he will play. And again, relatively healthy they are the healthier team, the Sixers. I know Daniel Gafford probably doesn't want to go up against Joel Embiid here tonight after what he's been able to do against his Wizards team this season. So I'll lay the chalk here. Give me it's up to -12 in some spots with the news of Embiid here. So team total over for me as well for the Philadelphia 76ers. I just don't see how this Washington Wizards offense can slow the Sixers team down after what they've done in the first two games this season against them. So I'll take that to the bank. You have any thoughts on the total?
Yeah,
You said
no, over. Yeah, I'm all over the over. I mean, you said the numbers of the first two games. I don't know why I'm going against it. I mean, Philly team total over. They've been in 130 both of these games.
Yep. All right, player props. What are you looking at?
It's Christmas time, so Joel.
33.
Joel. What is it? What's the numbers?
33.5 minus 150 the prop right now, but over the last 4 games against the Wizards, 48, 34, 48, and 50. And both of those 48 and 50 games were this season. I mean,
at some point you gotta have some pride. Like as a team, you gotta have some pride. Like, there's no reason a guy should have 4 40-point games against us in his last 4.
Yeah,
he's giving us 40 every time.
4. Yeah.
You hear how Jeff Teague be upset when he be talking about Braun and how Braun was always beating him and whooping his ass in the playoffs. And then you have, I know these Washington players hate Joel Embiid. Like, I know they hate Joel Embiid. I know they be like, dog, every time we play this man, he just continue to go off against us. Like, every time. Like, it don't matter what we do, he always goes for 40. Give me Joel Embiid to score 40 again, man. Make it 5 times in a row.
I think that, let's see what that alt number is for him. Joel Embiid.
Casey said is plus 190.
Yeah, I see over 35.5 is plus 105. I don't think they'll give us a 50. Yeah, I see. Yeah, Ray's right. Well, plus 185, plus 190. Any other player props?
Let's see. Man, somebody from Washington is going to score. Let's go with Denny. I thought I saw JR say something about Denny earlier. I guess we can go with Denny on Washington. So I don't know how you can back Jordan Poole at this point. Like,
yeah,
I think I played more unders for Jordan Poole than overs this season.
I mean, how many 20-point games has he even had this season is a bigger question.
He had a stretch. He had a stretch where he had like 3 in a row. And then after that, it got very, very concerning.
Yeah, 30, 24, 26. I think the Atlanta game he left early, and then he's had 10, 19, 14, 23, and 8. So, yeah. I was looking at Maxey assists in this game as well. He had 11 in the first matchup, and then 7 in the second matchup this season. Let me see what that number is at right now. It's probably 6.5. Yeah, 6.5 minus 140. So I think is a good game which we want to be able to put together a same game parlay as well. I think that's a good opportunity. All right, you got anything else for this game?
Let's see here. Actually, no, I'm good. Let's go.
All right. Before we get over to the next game of the schedule, let me tell everyone about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy gives you the opportunity to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long: NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, and college football. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Stay tuned at the end of the episode. Terrell and I will put together our underdog entry for the Monday night schedule in the association, so you can watch along. Maybe make your own picks as well, and maybe make a little cash as well over on Underdog's mobile app or their website, underdogfantasy.com. And when you sign up with promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Again, that's Underdog Fantasy using promo code SGPN. All right, Terrell, next game on the schedule here is going to be the Miami Heat. They are in Charlotte to take on the Hornets here tonight. Currently, the Heat are a 4-point favorite on the road with a total of 221. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Miami Heat, Bam is going to be out for this game. RJ Hampton is questionable. Tyler Hero, Haywood Highsmith are also out. And then Kyle Lowry is questionable with back spasms. Caleb Martin and Duncan Robinson are available for the Charlotte Hornets. We know LaMelo Ball continues to be out, as well as Cody Martin and Frank Ntilikina. And then Mark Williams is doubtful here tonight, so expect to see Nick Richards. And then Nick Smith Jr. is also out for the Charlotte Hornets. So a lot of injuries for both of these teams here. But Miami -4 on the road here against Charlotte here. Terrell, what are you thinking?
Miami Heat laying points yet again.
On the
Slightly
road.
better on the road when they're laying points than they are at home, but it's still not a spot that you want to back them. But is it enough points? Because Charlotte, this matchup's been close over the past 4 meetings. It's actually 2-2 straight up. Miami has won one of their games as a 4-point by 4 as a 2.5-point favorite, and then they pushed the other game at +6. So these games have been close the last 4 matchups. Honestly, like they have their number a little bit now. There is no LaMelo going on in this game. We all know that, but ultimately, we all know the glue for this team. We know who the glue is. It's Gordon Hayward. I don't know why. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what he continues to do at this point. But they play better with Gordon Hayward in the lineup. And we still have Miles Bridges here. And regardless of what you may feel for Miles Bridges as the person, as the player, he's averaging 20 points this season. So he's definitely going to help them there in that offensive workload. And that's really what it is for me. I expect to see a little bit of a slower pace, lower scoring game between these two teams, but I need to trust that the Charlotte Hornets are going to be able to keep up with whatever the Miami Heat are going to throw at them. So with the offensive options, adding Bridges, hopefully Miller has a solid game, and then add what Gordon Hayward gives you in playmaking to make everybody else a little bit better. I'm taking the Charlotte Hornets plus points here.
Yeah, Miami Heat on the road this season as a away favorite, 4-1 straight up. They are 3-2 against the spread, and they did face the Hornets back on November 14th as a 6.5-point road favorite. And the Hornets,
that line they technically didn't cover.
Yeah, because they only won that game by 6. And that was a game where they had Bam, they had Haywood Highsmith, they had Kyle Lowry for the Heat, and then that was a game where the Charlotte Hornets started Ball, PJ Washington, JT Thor, Mark Williams, and Theo Maledon. So no Gordon Hayward in that game. No Miles Bridges, like you mentioned as well. So yeah, I think this is another game that does come down to the wire in the final minutes here. When I saw this, I kind of did scratch my head on it as to why the Heat were outside of a possession.
Charlotte can win this game.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I'll take them plus the points here. I like what I've seen from them. And like you mentioned, right? Bridges is playing well, and Gordon Hayward has put together back-to-back 20-plus point games. 3 out of the last 4 games, he's actually scored 20-plus points. And Terry Rozier is also doing his thing as well for the Charlotte Hornets in the absence of LaMelo Ball. So I think it's a big Nick Richards game here as well. But excuse me, I do like the Hornets with you in this game. You mentioned the under in this game. Let's get to player props then. What else? What do you like for as far as player props?
I mean, I'm on the Miles Bridges wave. I've kind of been quiet about it, but you look at his last few games, 22, 16, 22, 23, 13, 23, 33. And he's doing this on 50% from the field. Like, it's not even like this is an inefficient game for him most times. The majority of his games, he's shooting above 50%. And so if you're going to get the shots, especially with LaMelo out, you're getting 15 to 20 shots a game. And then you're going out there and you're shooting above 50%. I think you're going to be able to get above your points prop. So I'm all over Miles Bridges here to continue doing what he's doing. That's just playing good basketball.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Like you mentioned, he's been efficient. I think is a key there for Bridges. I was looking at Nick Richards' rebounds in this game. That's probably at 9.5 or maybe even 10. Yeah, it's at 9.5 minus 120. I don't hate that. In the earlier matchup this season, in 25 minutes, he had 10 points and 12 rebounds in that game. But I do expect him to play a little bit more minutes, especially with Mark Williams being out here tonight for the Charlotte Hornets. I think that was probably it. Orlando Robinson burned me on Friday, so I'm not gonna go to him. Got hooked on his rebounds. All right, let's keep it moving here, Terrell. So a lot to get through here.
That's the sign. You're supposed to play it. That's the sign that you're supposed to play it. He burned you on the hook the last time. You're supposed to go back to it because you're going to look at his prop today and you're going to be like, oh, now he wants to get that rebound. You're supposed to play it today. I'm going to give it out. Orlando Robinson. What's the line? I'm going to give it out because that's exactly what happens. 9.5. Orlando Robinson over 9.5 rebounds. That's exactly what happens. I promise you, that's exactly what happens. You sit here and you're like, dang, he hooked me. All right, I'm not betting him no more. And then the next game you look and he goes over that prop that you wish you had bet. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right. Next game on the board. Let's go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are headed to Orlando.
Eddie, what do you do?
On the Magic. Magic currently sitting as a 1.5 point favorite, total of 227. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, where'd they go? All right. Karis LeVert is out for this game. Evan Mobley is also out for this game. Both of those guys are dealing with left knee injuries. And then for the Orlando Magic, Wendell Carter Jr. continues to be out. Jalen Suggs and Jonathan Isaac are questionable here tonight. And then Markelle Fultz is also out here tonight. So Carter Jr. and Markelle Fultz out. Jonathan Isaac and Jalen Suggs questionable. Terrell minus 1.5 in favor of the in favor of the Magic here at home. What are you thinking?
Oh, wow. I mean, first and foremost,
well, it goes without
the gift
saying.
that keeps on giving. The gift that keeps on giving. Orlando Magic first half. I mean, just go ahead and put it back in. We're still rolling and we're still up a bunch of units, Munaf. And we got a comment, and they said that I have taken over all credit for the Orlando Magic first half because. And you were the one that noticed it first, and you said something about it first. So, Munaf, you have to go tout the Orlando Magic first half because clearly you're not doing it enough. They think that I'm the one, like just because I'm touting it, they think that I came up with it. But it's because you don't tout. Munaf doesn't tout. Munaf is lame. Munaf is boring. And so Munaf just sits there and cashes his bets and doesn't say anything.
Gambling podcast host. We collectively put our heads together.
Yes, there actually is.
Yeah, and Terrell
it's right
will tout for
it's
myself
literally right
and
there.
the
There's
pod.
An eye right there. There's an eye right there. Like, what do you mean? There's no eye in NBA gambling podcast.
First half.
What do you mean?
I said there's no eye in team in our team. I know there isn't gambling.
Oh, well, I thought you said an NBA gambling podcast. I'm like, there's an eye right there.
Okay, right. Yeah, you got me there. I'll throw out the numbers here for the first half real quick in case people are tuning in for the first time. Orlando Magic first half overall 16-6 against the spread, at home 8-4 against the spread.
I'm going with Orlando. I think at this point, I think I'm on
Isn't
Orlando.
This like a revenge spot as well for them?
I think I'm kind of because I'm pretty sure they got whooped by Cleveland. I feel like I bet that game and I instantly regretted it. Let me go back.
Yeah, 121-111.
Yeah. So I regretted that one. I remember that. But that was in Cleveland. And I think it's a different situation because now it's no Evan Mobley, no Karis LeVert. Now you're testing the depth of that Cleveland Cavaliers team because Dean Wade comes into the starting lineup. I mean, I guess you're gonna Niang. Niang is gonna get more minutes in this game. So maybe I guess if you want to get behind a Niang prop, you may be able to do something there. Uh who else is coming off of it? Like it feels like this is gonna be a test of depth for this team. Whereas Orlando, we've seen them be kind of solid, especially if Suggs and Isaac plays. If Suggs and Isaac both play, I love Orlando in this spot
Mhm.
because those are two great defensive players. I think that Suggs, Mitchell, and Garland are probably still going to get theirs, but he's going to make life difficult for him. Jonathan Isaac is going to make sure nobody gets anything easy inside the paint. So, yeah, I like Orlando if those two guys play. But if those two guys don't play, or if I get one or the other, I'm a little bit questionable about it. But I think with Suggs and with Isaac coming into the lineup, especially Suggs, honestly, Suggs for I think that that's going to be a pretty good defensive matchup to go up against Garland or Mitchell. So I will take the Orlando Magic minus the 1.5. They're a great home team, man. They're sitting here at 10-2 against the spread, 10-2 straight up at
Yeah.
home. I'm not fading that.
Yeah. And when we talk about revenge angles, I like the spot, especially being at home. Where almost you're essentially a pick 'em. And like you mentioned, Magic have been really good, not only in the first half, but at home against the spread as well. Again, Terrell just laid out the numbers there, so I'm not going to argue against that. So expect the Magic to play well here tonight. I'm on the minus 1.5 here as well. Total sitting at 227. The first matchup ended up with 232 points in that game, Terrell. But what do
Mhm.
you think about the total here?
I'm going under this time around. Really close to the last matchup. Expect to see better defensive intensity. And again, Jalen Suggs and Jonathan Isaac, if they play in this game, I think that the Orlando Magic defensively at home are going to really make life tough on this Cleveland Cavaliers team. I think that they're going to smother them. I don't think anything coming easy in the paint with the Paulo Banchero, with Franz Wagner, with Goga, with all the size that this team. I mean, remember how we were talking about the 7-footers for the 7-footers for the Cleveland Cavaliers? Orlando Magic
Yeah.
have had some 7-footers as well, and they got a bunch of 6'10" guys that I think are really going to make things difficult for them. So yeah, I'm on the under here. What's the under? 227.
220. Yeah. Yeah. 227. Yeah. Also, I mean, Orlando, let me see how they've been doing defensively over the past couple games. Cleveland are the number 2 or second best defensive rated team in the association over the last 5 games. Orlando has dipped a little bit. They are down to number 13, but they were hovering around top 10 season long as far as defensive rating. And we talk about pace as well when we talk about totals.
Mhm.
Orlando is at number 7, but Cleveland is they're right around league average as well. So, but I expect them again to both of these teams, to bog down defensively, especially the Orlando Magic after giving up 121 points in the matchup earlier to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that was a game where Evan Mobley had chipped in with, I think, 16 points and 7 rebounds as well.
Mhm.
So really don't expect Jared Allen to contribute a lot on the offensive side of the basketball. He will probably clean up the glass, but other than that, it's like you mentioned, probably the Darius Garland and the Donovan Mitchell show. Player
And
props,
this
what are you looking
total
at?
this total jumped up 10 points. I'm not really sure why. I mean, I understand money's coming in on the over,
Hmm.
but a 10-point line move is kind of excessive. I don't think I want to be on the wrong end of hopping in on an over after a 10-point line move.
Yeah.
That's kind
What
of
are they?
questionable. I'm trying to figure out why the line moved 10 points.
Yeah, they're 5-6 at home. Yeah, I couldn't justify it for you right now either. What are you looking at for player props?
I mean, Eddie's in there talking about Afro Man, so I mean, he's gonna be fighting for his life, and he has the opportunity to still get a double double. Jared Allen double double. I do like that play. I think that's a pretty solid play. Uh, if I get Jalen Suggs again, and Jalen Suggs does play in this game, I'm gonna go back to my auto bet of Jalen Suggs over 1.5 steals. Normally get at plus money, pretty good bet there. And then finally, just to wrap up the chat conversation, I mean, seriously, who is guarding Paolo Banchero? Without Evan Mobley, who's effectively guarding Paolo Banchero in this lineup?
Dean Wade. You're not gonna be Jared Allen, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, no, he's not fast enough. Like maybe Jared Allen comes over for help, but Paolo, And maybe that's how you make things tough on Paolo. You make him become a jump shooter and try to shoot over Jared Allen. But I like his chances. Give me Paolo Banchero points over.
Yeah, that number is at, let's see here, 20. Come on. Paolo Banchero, 22 and a half.
Yep. Minus 125.
Yeah, he's had 24, 42, 19, and 28 over his last 4 games here. So, yeah, don't hate that. I've been on the Cole Anthony train. He's been pretty good to me this season. You're typically coming off of the bench. Ooh, is it?
I don't know. It's my sister's birthday.
8 birthdays. Oh, there you go. Happy birthday to Terrell's sister.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. We do have some birthdays today. Do we got the Trailblazers on the schedule? Yeah, we do. All right, so
yes,
we got a Malcolm Brogdon birthday game coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And we got the Hawks on the schedule too. And we got Okongwu. We'll talk about Okongwu a little later too for the Hawks. He has a birthday as well. Shout out to the December 11th birthdays. All right, finally we got a couple of birthday games to talk about later today. Remind me about that when we get to those games.
We'll do. All right. Yeah, I didn't really like many player props in this game, so we'll keep it moving here. All right. Next game on the board here, we'll go over to, speaking of Okongwu, the Denver Nuggets. They are in the ATL to take on the Atlanta Hawks. Currently, the Denver Nuggets are a 2.5-point road favorite here with a total of 241.5. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams. Let's see here. For the Denver Nuggets, pretty clean injury report. Jamal Murray is probable. For the Atlanta Hawks, DeAndre Hunter is questionable here tonight. He has a right quad tendon soreness. And Jalen Johnson, we know, is out with the fracture. But pretty healthy squads here between these two teams here. Minus 2.5 in favor of the Denver Nuggets here. Terrell, what are you thinking?
What has Denver done on the road recently? I feel like they've been playing better, and I told myself I wasn't automatically fading them on the road.
So they still took back-to-back L's. So they came back with 2 wins in a row on the spread and straight up against the Clippers and the Suns, but then their last 2 road games were against the Kings, where they lost straight up and against the spread, and then the Clippers back on Wednesday, they lost straight up and against the spread as well.
Yeah. So this is a very frustrating scene because so here's the issue that I have with this dilemma. Both of these two teams suck when it comes to hitting the number. Like, you have the Atlanta Hawks, who are 5-16 overall this season, 1-8 at home. How are you 1-8 ATS at home? Like, them and Golden State, 2 home teams that are normally really, really good home teams, pissing me off. And so, but you have 3-10 on the road for the Denver Nuggets. Does this not feel like the Quinn Snyder get up for a good team game? Like, this just feels like when they play up the competition. Atlanta does that all season. They did it with the Bucks. They did it with the 76ers. Yeah. Like, it just feels like Atlanta plays up the competition. They won the last game.
The pushback I would have for the Denver Nuggets is that those road games that they were struggling earlier, like Jamal Murray was not there. Like, he pretty much missed the entire month of, October. Mm-hmm. And I think it was more like November, but I mean, I think that would be my only pushback. But Hawks, like you mentioned, 1-8 against the spread at home, and they've been against some of the good teams as well. 7-2 to the over at home.
I'm just gonna take the Hawks playing a good team. It feels like I always say this is an easy fade to Hawks moment. They're playing a good team. They should get destroyed. And granted, they didn't end up covering that line against Philly, but they were competitive. They were really competitive in that game. And so, I don't know, man. I kind of want to take Denver, but I feel like when I take Denver, they really, really fold for me. I'm taking Atlanta. Give me Atlanta plus points.
I'll take Denver here. I think there's a good bounce back spot for them. I mean, Nikola Jokic, I don't know what's going on for him, if the Monstars stole his juice or whatever, but he's been
having couple games been rough. Past couple games been rough.
18 of 58 from the field from Nikola Jokic over the last two games, and that was against the Clippers and the Rockets. So I think this is a game where he does bounce back, at least scoring wise. I mean, he's still filling it up with rebounds and assists. I mean, we know he's going to do that, but I think this might just be the game where he has an absolutely efficient scoring night, and we see Nikola Jokic be the Nikola Jokic that we're used to seeing as MVP form, and getting Jamal Murray back as well. Um, and they're healthy, like I mentioned. I'm gonna go with the Denver Nuggets here, man. Give me the -2.5. I don't trust this Hawks team at home, like you mentioned, 1-8 against the spread. It's been against some of the better teams at home that they face as well. Obviously, you have the defending champions coming in. I think this is the right spot here for the Denver Nuggets. Thoughts on the total here, Terrell? 241.5.
I mean, I'm going with the over because the Hawks defense. Well, I don't know. I kind of feel like I want to go under because here's my question, and here's what I'm frustrated with. Jokic may have a good game. Jokic may have a good game. He very well. But is everybody else on the road going to show up for this spot in Atlanta? Like that's ultimately like if Jokic shows up, is everybody else coming with him? Is everybody else getting on the plane with him? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's why.
I think that's
Jamal Murray,
Jokic out there. Yeah, that's all I need.
But you got DeJounte, you got Murray versus Murray here. DeJounte, the length poses a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, give me a contrarian under here. Under 242 here. Contrarian under. It's a lot of points. It just doesn't get to 240.
I think I'm agreeing with Lonte what he mentioned, the team total over for the Denver Nuggets here. Look, 7-2 to the over at home for the Hawks. They're allowing 126.1 points per game at home. I mean, look, they gave up 126 to the Knicks, 113 to the T-Wolves. Okay, but then they gave up 121 to the Wizards, 117 to the Miami Heat. I mean, I'm not going to go through the entire list, but they're giving up the points at home here. So Denver Nuggets team total over for me. We mentioned the Okongwu birthday today. You want to start there with player props?
Yeah, we can.
I don't see him listed though.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad at home. Maybe I should be on that over. Probably should. Okay, either way. Back to Okongwu. They don't have anything listed for him because, he's a bench player and bench players don't get respect until about an hour before the game. But, however, this is how we play Okongwu. You 100% play the double-double for certain. 100% play the double-double. But just in case, because I'm pretty sure his points prop is going to be 8.5, 9.5, something like that, maybe 7.5. I don't really know, but I think it's something along those lines. You 100% play him for 15 as well. So 15 and 10. That's what we're rooting for Okongwu on his birthday today. 15 and 10. That is a nice payday. 15 and 10 for Okongwu.
All right. What else for player props?
I like DeJounte Murray steals.
Okay.
I think he's going to be active today. If this actually does go to being a little bit like not even saying a defensive game is a defensive game, like both of these two teams, this final score could be 120 to 115, and I still cash. And that's still a decent amount of points. But I think that the faster pace that these two teams play with and the length of DeJounte Murray is actually gonna, mess with the guard play for this Nuggets team a little bit. Like I think it's gonna fool with him a bit. He's active with his hands. You get 1.5 steals for plus 110. I think I like a DeJounte steals prop and a rare defensive prop around here, but I do like his steals today.
All right. I'm quickly trying to go back and see what Okongwu's done on his birthday, if he has played. So it's only been one game where he has played on his birthday. He had 14 points and 9 rebounds against the Bulls last season. Other than that,
exactly. I mean, hey man, you just give us one more in both categories, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. And prior to that, he didn't start playing till like late December. So last season is the only quote unquote data point that we have for him. It was on a Sunday, 6 of 8 from the floor, 14 points, 9 rebounds in that game against the Chicago Bulls. Jokic rebounds always for me, even if it's at, I think it should be at 12.5 for him. Yeah, it's minus 150, so it's going up to 13.5. But again, this guy's been getting like 16 rebounds over this past several games against the opposition.
It'd be really good if he
Um,
got Clint Capella in foul trouble too. That would just open the
yeah,
door more for Okongwu.
yeah. I do think it's a bounce back game for Nikola Jokic here as well. His points are at 29.5, so maybe we've got points and rebounds for him to go over. I just feel like we'd see a lot of points in this game here. So that was the couple, or that was the one that I was looking at. You have anything else as far as player props for this game?
I guess I can take the points and rebounds as well. I mean, 3 bad games in a row is kind of crazy. That's when you get
Yeah.
up from the blackjack table. So, yeah, I'll take his points and rebounds too.
All right. Before we get over to the next game on the schedule here, let me tell everyone about Hall of Fame bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL and NBA season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, Terrell, let's keep it rolling here, my man. Still a lot of games to get through here. Let's go to the next game. That is going to be the Toronto Raptors. They are in Madison Square Garden to take on the New York Knicks. Knicks sitting as a 4.5-point home favorite here with a total of 221. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Toronto Raptors, Christian Koloko continues to be out with a respiratory issue. Otto Porter Jr., didn't even know he was still in the league. He had a left foot contusion. And then for the New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson is questionable and Mitchell Robinson is out for this game. He has left ankle inflammation. So possibly Isaiah Hartenstein should get the start here for the New York Knicks at that center position. But so let's start with the side here. Minus 4.5 in favor of the New York Knicks hosting the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like you said, like we talked about, what was it, last week? 2 teams matched up. Knicks got the win on the road in Toronto. As what were they laying? I think they were laying 4 actually. No, it was 1.5. As a 1.5-point favorite, they did well. 1.5. They were catching 1.5. They ended up losing that game outright to the New York Knicks. But fortunately for them, this game is now in Madison Square Garden. And I mean, we all know what happens when teams come to the Garden. Scotty Barnes had 26 in the Garden last time he was there, just so people know. I mean, it's what happens, man. So as I look through this roster and I decide who's going to screw my Knicks today out of a win. Let's see. Let's pull up this team and let's see who is it going to be? Who is it going to be? Because everybody thinks that. I mean, who Dennis? Is Dennis going to hit a whole bunch of crazy threes out of nowhere? Is he going to be that guy today?
Let's see how he's done in Madison Square Garden.
I mean, Scotty's had a little bit of time in the league. I'm looking for younger players. I mean, Gary Trent steps up when they need it. It's just everybody knows the atmosphere. There's so many people that can step up for this team. And we all know my pessimism of my New York Knicks and how I think that this team actually isn't that good. And so I think that this is a little bit more of a defensive game. Give me the under on that 221. I think this is actually a slower pace game. Both of these two teams try to make life a little bit harder on each other. I see the total going up. I'm fine coming in, grabbing the under here. The game went under last time out. I think that Scotty Barnes, who had 29 in that last one, he could still have a really good game here and be able to be able to help assist this team. I like Dennis Schroeder assist. I think Dennis Schroeder is going to be able to help navigate that offense and just get the ball to everybody that's going to ultimately destroy the Knicks in this game. So I like the Raptors here, man. Plus 4.5. I understand what happened in Toronto, but this is always a phase spot for the Knicks. The Knicks beat somebody on the road, they come back home and they get destroyed by that same team. Like it just feels like this is what the Knicks does all the time. So I would take Toronto plus 4.5 here.
Yeah, I think outside of two possessions, I don't trust the Knicks, especially at home. I know they are 6-3 straight up at home, but they're just, I believe, 4-1 against the spread. And again, we talk about those revenge angles, right? They came into our building, they pretty much handled us, and now you're looking for revenge going into Madison Square Garden, like you've mentioned, over the course of the NBA Gaming Podcast, that someone turns into Michael Jordan for the opposition coming into the building. So,
why should it be Chris Boucher? Chris Boucher. Boucher sounds like a New York. It sounds like a New York dude, man.
I'm surprised Grady Dick doesn't get more minutes, because I would have looked at him to turn into Michael Jordan here tonight. But he's only been playing, like, he's been coming off of the bench where it's been blowouts, and they've drafted him really high as well. So I don't know why he's not getting more minutes for them. But anyways, yeah, I'm with you. I like the Raptors here plus the 4.5. I'll lean with the over. I don't love it. Nothing has really, made me consider going on the other side of, an under or the over here. So I'll just lean towards the over here. 4-5 is the total in Knicks Holmes games, but they've been really good defensively at home. They've only allowed 103.2 points per game to the opposition in those 9 home games. So yeah,
they need a good defensive performance here too. After the last 2 games, they need a good defensive performance.
Yeah. All right, let's get to player props here, man. What are you looking at?
I mean, I kind of went through, and I'm sitting here still kind of. Scotty Barnes has had some pretty good games against the Knicks recently, so I think I have to play a Scotty Barnes over, or some type of PRA with Scotty Barnes against the Knicks. He's actually really, really had a lot of good games against the Knicks. When you look at his game log of what he has been doing, last game 29, 9, and 4. Game before that 19, 7, and 6. Game before that 26, 7, and 4. Like he's able to get it done. He's able to find ways to score. He's been pretty efficient in his scoring as well. 68.4% from the field, 46.7%, 50% from the field. Like, he's been able to get it done. So I think Scotty Barnes PRA is a good play.
Julius Randle has actually been really good against the Raptors as well. Trying to pull up those numbers here exactly. I just had them in front of me. So the earlier matchup this season, a near triple-double. He had 20 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. But over the last 3 head-to-head meetings, Terrell, against the Knicks, he's been 2 assists short of a triple-double. In the last game, like I mentioned, 1 assist short of a triple-double against the Raptors. So if you want to look at his rebounds and assists to go over here tonight, that's at 14.5. He's cleared that in 5 out of the last 6 head-to-head meetings against the Raptors. He's also been playing the minutes as well. And like we mentioned, Mitchell Robinson is out. So I was looking at Isaiah Hartenstein's rebounds in this game. So he did play 29 minutes against the Boston Celtics when Mitchell Robinson did not play in that game. He finished that game with 16 rebounds, did Isaiah Hartenstein. That number is at 8.5 right now. A little bit of juice on it at -130. But if he does play the minutes here tonight, I do like his rebounds to go over 8.5 here. So those are the 2 guys that I was looking at. I do love your Scotty Barnes look as well. He's been really good to me this season as well. Anything else for this game?
Yeah, Boucher and Achua for Jordan players of the game. Last game, they both had double-digit field goal attempts coming off the bench. Neither one of them were efficient, but they both were double digits. If they get double-digit field goal attempts coming off the bench today, they might go 70%. It might be some 70 or 80% from the field. So, yeah, I like Boucher and Achua when their props come out. Those are the Jordan players of the day.
All right, let's get over to the next game here. We got the Chicago Bulls. They are in Milwaukee to take on the Bucks here. Bucks sitting as an 11.5-point favorite in this game, with a total of 233. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Chicago Bulls, Alex Caruso is questionable. We know Zach LaVine is going to be missing the next 3 to 4 weeks. And then Patrick Williams is probable here tonight with left ankle soreness. For the Milwaukee Bucks, Pat Covington and Jay Crowder are out for this game. And that is pretty much it here. We saw the Milwaukee Bucks lose in the semifinals against the Indiana Pacers on Thursday, but now they are back home hosting, I guess we can say, a division rival in the in the Chicago Bulls here. I've been pretty impressed with the Bulls, man, especially since Zach LaVine hasn't been in the lineup. It just seems like they're playing more freely. They're playing for each other. Kobe White has been really good. I'll talk about his player props in a little bit, but let's start with the spread here first. Minus 11 in favor of the Bucks here. Terrell, what are you thinking?
This is going to be a beatdown. I think this is a terrible spot for this Bulls team. I think this is a terrible spot for this Bulls team. And it's because they won that overtime game.
Yeah.
It's 100% because they won that overtime game. Yeah. So they just went the overtime game against the Bucks. They're rolling. So this Bulls team was terrible before that overtime game. We all admit that. After that game, that was the start of a 4-game win streak for them. They have won their past 4 games in a row until they walk back into Milwaukee. And guess what? You said it. Milwaukee hasn't played since Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
It's Monday. So we get a Bucks team off of rest, a Bucks team that had to sit there on that loss to the Pacers at home, and they get a Bulls team that not only has rattled off 4 straight wins since beating them, but beat them in overtime the last time they played, and this line is 11.5, and it opened up at 10. This is going to be a – matter of fact, I'm not even wasting my time. I'm not wasting my time with 11.5 because y'all not about to play in my face like this. I'm going to tell you that right now. So let's just go ahead and let's see here. Alternate spread, Bucks minus 19.5 is plus 235. That'll tell you what I think about 11.5. Bucks minus 19.5 is plus 235. They're going to absolutely dog this team out. I don't think that the Bulls have anything offensively this game on the road. After smelling themselves and they're feeling really, really good about themselves over the past few games, I think that this Milwaukee Bucks team is going to bring them back down to earth. Everybody's betting the Bulls today. I understand it. They went overtime last time out. 11.5 tells me that this is going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this earlier, is that when you have a player at the caliber of Damian Lillard pairing with Giannis, it's going to take some time for them to adjust. And we knew that there was going to be some type of fall off defensively when you go from Drew Holiday to Damian Lillard. But I mean, historically, this Bucks team has just absolutely owned the Chicago Bulls. And, you know, it's kind of a big brother, little brother situation where the Bucks went into Chicago. Bulls played their butts off in that game, got it to overtime, outscored the Bucks 14-7 in overtime, got the 7-point victory. But other than that, I mean, it's just been domination by the Milwaukee Bucks at home, especially against the Chicago Bulls here. So you mentioned it, and I said that as well, that the Bulls have been playing better as of late. But you take a look at who they've played, it hasn't been the greatest competition, right? Yes, they've won 4 games in a row, but the last 2 games were against the Hornets. Okay, I know we talked about them, and then against the San Antonio Spurs, where they had to come from behind in that game in the fourth quarter and win that game. So I just think it's a monster performance here tonight from Giannis and Damian Lillard, led by their leaders and their best players of this team. I would look at Bucks early in this game as well. I think they could coast for the second half, and they just win by, you know, like you mentioned, you like it all the way up to 19.5. So I'll lay the chalk here as well. Love the Bucks team total to go over in this game here as well. What are your thoughts on the game total of 233?
Yeah, I think I prefer Bucks team total more because I just think that there's a possibility that the Bulls don't like. I guess I have to go over because the Bucks defense has been terrible. But if I think that the Bucks are getting up for this game and they're very intentional about this game, I think that they're going to be up. Excuse me, I had hiccups. Going to be up a little bit more defensively, and
yeah,
I think that the Bulls really could find ways to struggle, especially if DeMar DeRozan isn't hitting his shot. if they finally found a way, because Vucevic actually has pretty good games against this Bucks team, if they find a way to limit Vucevic or just keep everybody else from having a good game and let Vucevic get his, then especially like limiting a Kobe White who's out here, his prop has gotten up to 19 and a half. Like,
Yeah.
at what point did we realize Kobe White's points prop was at 19 and a half on any given night? So yeah, I'm all over the Bucks team total over. I think it's going to be a struggle for the Bulls to go out here and score today. But man, yeah, give me a Bucks team total over, but I will take an under for the game because I think that the Bulls are not going to do their part.
All right. Player props. What are you looking at?
All right, let's see. So, like I said, Vucevic, a lot of good games against the Bucks. You look at his game log and what he's able to do. Hold on, let me pull it back up right here. So we have Vucevic 29 and 10 in that last game, 26 and 12, 21 and 11, 22 and 16, 15 and 14. Like, so Vucevic points and rebounds, that's a play for me. I think that's a pretty good play. I can get his points and rebounds at let me see, 30 and a half. So if you take that 30 and a half, he's been over in the past 4 games against the Bucks. And that 5th one, he hit, what was that, 29? So he's been basically there. Like, he's been having a really, really good stretch of games against this Bucks team. And I'm going to bet on it to keep going. Give me Vucevic over 30 and a half points and rebounds today. I like both props separately as well.
Yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, I can't talk you off of that. The Vucevic has always been good to me. Reboundings. He's had 4 straight 20-plus point games against the Milwaukee Bucks as well. It's curious to see Dame's assists in this game. He did have 13 in the matchup, I believe, earlier this season. Back in that overtime game. Didn't have a great shooting night, did Damian Lillard. So I look at his assist. Giannis has always done well against this Bulls team. I mean, for their lack of rim protection, his rebounds always been there. So I expect him to get up for this game here as well. Last game, 26 points, 14 rebounds in that game. I believe his rebounding is probably going to be at 12 and a half. Let me see if I can find that. But I remember I did bet on this in the last game, and it was at 11 and a half. But fortunately for me, it went into overtime, and that's where he got his couple more rebounds to get over the total here. Yeah, it's 11 and a half at plus 110. I don't hate that for Vucevic here tonight. Think it's a Bobby Portis game?
Man, when is the last time I bet Bobby Portis? Wow, it's been a while.
Rebounding wise, he does pretty well against his former team.
Yeah,
and
I can get behind a Bobby Portis. I can get behind a Bobby Portis game for sure. It's been a while, but I can definitely get behind a Bobby Portis game. Rebounds have been good. I see it. Yeah. I mean, the points is. I mean, that last game. Yeah, let's back Bobby Portis again on the points as well. For the last, he's got 20, 27, and 19 now. Those, I'm pretty sure one of those games, I can't remember which one, I think it was 27, is when he was actually starting. They had a whole bunch of outs, and he was actually starting for them in that game, so he got a lot more attention more opportunity with the basketball. But I think this is still a pretty decent spot for Bobby Portis, and what I expect him to get solid minutes. And I think the interior for the Chicago Bulls is a weak point. So, yeah, Bobby Portis, I can get behind a good Bobby Portis game.
I think his rebounds, 7.5 is what I see. Even money.
Yeah,
double is plus 425.
Points and rebounds is at 16 and a half. Juice to the minus 120. Juice on the 16 and a half. Yeah, double could be a nice little play there.
Yeah, 7.5 even money is his rebounds here for tonight. So he's done that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games against the Bulls.
Okay, yeah, I like the rebounds prop. I like that plus 425. Maybe you just go for 10 rebounds. That's probably a good plus money price as well. So options, you got options.
Yeah, that's a good call. Let me see quickly before we get to the next game here. Not sure if they'll have it listed. Let's see. Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis rebounds. Yeah, 8.5 is at plus 160. I don't see for 10 plus. All right. Let's go to the next game here, Terrell. We got the Dallas Mavericks. They are in Memphis here to take on the Grizzlies. Mavs sitting as a 2-point favorite in this game with a total of 226. A lot of injuries here for the Dallas Mavericks. So they are going to be without Josh Green, Kyrie Irving, Maxi Kleba, and Grant Williams. For the Memphis Grizzlies, Brandon Clark, we know, has been out. Luke Kennard is out as well. John Morant is making his return, I believe, later this week, or I think it's next week. And then Marcus Smart, we know, is out as well. So significant injuries here for at least the Dallas Mavericks side as well. Let's start with the side here. Terrell -2 in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. They are in Memphis here tonight.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and I understand all the concern for the Mavericks and all the injuries, but this Memphis team still isn't that good. They've been playing better. Yes, they have been playing a lot better, but I mean, 3-7 at home. Dallas 7-4 on the road. They normally cover for me as a favorite on the road, not at home. That's why I faded them against the Jazz, which was a terrible play. And that's why we faded them against the Memphis Grizzlies, who were catching 6, and they won outright when they were at home. They're a worse home team than they are a road team. And I think this is a good spot for them to just get some revenge and be able to bounce back against this Memphis team. It's probably going to be Luka all the way here, but I just have a hard time thinking Dallas is that bad where they're going to drop 2 in a row to Memphis like this. I don't think that the matchups are that good. I don't think that Memphis is playing better. I still don't think they're that good. They just got destroyed by the Timberwolves on their home floor. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and back Dallas here. Dallas in a short number. I think they win the game.
Yeah, revenge spot here for the Dallas Mavericks as well. Back on December 1st, these two teams matched up. I believe it was in Dallas. That was a game without Luka. But again, we talked about a lot of revenge angles this on this episode, at least, of teams going in to the opponent's building and trying to get a victory here tonight. So, led by Luka, like you mentioned, I think this is a good spot for the Dallas Mavericks. It's just, I don't think there's no defensive guy that can stop Luka here for the Memphis Grizzlies. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see Luka drop 50 here tonight. I mean, he's done it more. I mean, he's done it throughout his career, but I think this is all, especially without Kyrie Irving, he's going to have the ball in his hands. The usage rate is just going to be through the roof for Luka here tonight. So I'm curious to see what his triple-double price is as well. It's probably a minus price here, but I'm trying to see how he's done against the Grizzlies in his career.
At this point, Luka loves playing everybody. Like, he gives everybody 30. Yeah. He's like, hey, man, I just love the NBA. I could come out here and get 30 any given night.
3 straight games, he's at 30-plus points against the Memphis Grizzlies, 37, 32, and 35 over his last 3 games. They did match up also back on October 30th in Memphis. Luka had 35 points, 12 rebounds, and 12 assists in that game, and the Mavericks did win that game 125-110. So this is going to be the third matchup now between these two teams, with one with Luka, one without Luka. So Dallas are going to get the season series evened up, at least here in this matchup. Yeah, the thoughts on the total here, Terrell? 226.
Let's see. Give me an under.
Okay.
I think it'll be a slower paced game. I think that they'll play out the half court. They'll probably let Luka set up his sets a lot. Pace is going to incredibly slow, especially because Kyrie is the one that really speeds up the pace. So no Kyrie in the game, pace is going to slow down tremendously. And I think that's what Memphis wants to do. Memphis wants to play them out the half court. Memphis wants to get into their defensive sets and say that, hey, we can play really good defense, even though we're missing half of our team. So I would take the under 227 in this one.
Luka triple doubles plus 210. I think I might get there with that.
I respect it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Luka points, rebounds, assists here tonight. Thought total, yeah, I think that you nailed it. That Kyrie Irving is the one that speeds up the pace, right? And I don't understand why they don't play with pace. To the Dallas Mavericks, they have the young guys that can get up and down the floor. And with Memphis, it's a team that, again, is missing a lot of guys, and they're just not efficient offensively. Especially without. Once they do get John Morant, obviously this team will increase, but they're pretty much relying on Desmond Bane and then hoping somebody else steps up, whether it's Triple J, whether it's some of these bench guys, whoever it is from Memphis Grizzlies. So with you on the under as well. Player props, I mentioned a Luka triple-double plus 210. I'll be on that. Anything else that you're looking at?
Yeah, I like THJ today.
Okay.
I think he can come off the bench and he can provide a really good spark for this Dallas team where they're going to need another 20-point scorer in this game. I don't know, it may not be determined exactly where that 20-point per game score is coming from. I think it's CHJ at 16 and a half. I like his threes as well. And what is it? 3.5. I think that this is a really big game for him where he can go on the road as that veteran presence, step up and help add on to that scoring workload that you're losing with Kyrie. So, yeah, I like THJ today.
What do you think about Derek Jones Jr. for 20 plus points? He's going to be in that starting lineup.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. Like, really, I think it's worth it. Because
he did have 16.
The thing about
in
Dallas
the matchup
for this year, you said what?
He had 16 in the matchup earlier.
Yeah, I think that's a good look. Like, the thing about Dallas is they have to find the identity of when these guys are out, who is the person that's going to step up? Who is that third person? Who is that fourth person for us? Like, Tim Hardaway Jr., he's been that person, but he kind of comes off the bench, and so he kind of boosts that second unit, and he can kind of bring his own spark. Who is that person that's going to benefit playing alongside Luka when Kyrie is gone? Like, who is that person? It very well could be Derek Jones Jr., I guess maybe it could be a Dante Exum. He's been playing all right and coming in relief and as a backup role. So that's really going to be the question of who is really going to benefit the most. It could even be Lively. Like, honestly, it could really be Lively. And Lively could have another one of those games. You remember where he goes 6 for 6. He's got some 14 points or something like that. So yeah, it could very well be Lively as well. That's the interesting thing about Dallas in this game. And I think if you want to take long shots, and you want to, boost these players' points totals up and take plus money and get some value, the role players around Luka, there's value there. I wish Josh Green was healthy, man. If Josh Green was healthy, I would be sitting here screaming to the roof, play Josh Green for 20 points tonight.
Dante Exum, 15 plus points, plus 165, 18 plus 370. And then for Derek Jones Jr., 15 plus is at plus 130. 18 plus at plus 265. He did have 22 in the first matchup this season against the Memphis Grizzlies, and then he had 16 in the matchup back on December 1st.
Derek Jones Jr. might be the play. That 12.5 seems kind of sweet. Matter of fact, give me Derek Jones Jr. over 12.5. I'm not even going to play with give me over 12.5. That sounds kind of sweet.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for this game?
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's keep it rolling here. Let's go over to the Utah Jazz. They are in Oklahoma City here tonight to take on the Thunder. Thunder are sitting as a 12.5 point favorite in this game with a total of 233.5. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams here for the Utah Jazz. Let's see here. Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen are all out for this game. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, Keontae Johnson is on a two-way G League deal. And then Lou Dort is questionable here tonight. He has a left ankle sprain.
Oh, Keontae Johnson plays for the OKC. Oh, that's dope. I didn't know that.
He's in their G League. Yeah, he's on a two-way contract.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's start with the side here, Terrell. Minus 12.5 in favor of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
So, I can't remember the last time I've seen OKC play this big of a number. I think it was Kevin Durant days. Honestly, when the last time we've seen OKC play this big of a number?
Let's see. If I can find that.
I mean, Utah's really bad. I hate to admit it, but they're horrible. 3-8 on the road this season. Haven't really been like the fact. This is the frustrating thing. I'm about to go on a soapbox. This is the frustrating thing about Utah is that they're 3-8 on the road, and just think about how big the spreads have been on the road that they still have not been able to cover at all. Like, there's one thing to be a bad road team, but it's another thing to be a bad road team where you're catching double digits almost every single game and you're still not able to cover. OKC 7-4. OKC's really good. They're a playoff team. They could actually win in the first round in the playoffs and make a run. Like, they're actually playing really, really good basketball. And it seems like this is the team that Sam Presti has been waiting for. And watch out for the trade deadline, because this is the team Presti's been waiting for. He's been accumulating all those millions of draft picks for this team so he can get one superstar to join them and they become a championship contender. Without that superstar, I think they're still really good. I'm taking OKC minus 12.5. It's chalk.
The last time the Thunder were a 12-point or more favorite was back on February 7th of 2020 against the Detroit Pistons.
Come on, Detroit.
Yeah, that was the last time. But I mean, this Jazz team has just been so bad on the road.
2020, that's back when it was Shea and Chris Paul running things. Was Russ on that team? No, Russ was on the Rockets at that point.
Yeah, let me see. Let's do a recap.
Yeah, Russ was on the Rockets at that point. I think that was the first season Russ was on the Rockets. They had just did the trade to swap Chris Paul for Russ. So that was the Chris Paul led OKC team that was laying 12.
So that was SGA, Chris Paul, Gallinari, Steven Adams, and Lou Dort. And the Pistons started Christian Wood, Thon Maker, Tony Snell, Bruce Brown, and Reggie Jackson.
Does that Pistons team beat this Utah team?
No. No
I'm still taking OKC.
Yeah, give me OKC here as well. I mean, look, like you mentioned, like this Jazz team on the road has just been so bad. They coming off a game where they lost by 50 points to the Dallas Mavericks and they gave up 147 points to that team. And now you're going up against a team that is, I think, a little bit more balanced in that Dallas Mavericks team. 1-10 straight up on the road this season for the Jazz, 3-8 against the spread. They're allowing 122.6 points per game on the road so far this season. So, give me the OKC Thunder in this game. Give me the OKC Thunder team total to go over in this game as well. Player props, what are you looking at?
Hopefully it's not let down after them playing Golden State. Player props, I mean, Munaf, do you remember when we started hosting this show consistently together? And we could have got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander for 23.5 points, 24.5 points. Yeah. Good times. Good times. 31.5 is the number now, Munaf. It's insane. He's still.
Can you blame him?
He's so good. He's so
this
good.
This is the last 4 games for SGA against the Jazz: 33, 39, 38, and 22.
He's so good, man. He's such a good player. I say Devin Vassell is my favorite player in the league, but like SGA is really like one of my favorite players in the league for real. Yeah, SGA points over 31.5. I wasn't questioning. I really didn't care what the number was. I thought it was going to be 33.5 if we're being honest. So the fact that I'm getting 31.5, which crazy, it sounds like I'm getting a deal at 31.5, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a deal. Give me SGA, get it done. I don't really care about anything else.
Yeah, I didn't really have any props for this game. Maybe a rebounding prop here for like John Collins, especially with Walker Kessler being out. You know, we've talked about rebounding props for opposing big men against the Thunder. They still don't have that traditional guy, you know what I mean, with like grabs rebounds for the Thunder. So maybe this is a good John Collins opportunity for him to grab some rebounds here. But other than that, like, I'm not going to talk you off of SGA props ever. Anything else for this game?
I mean, Chet blocks. I just okay. So between Yurtseven, John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, who will probably be shooting more than driving on the inside in this one. Colin Sexton, who you know is probably going to drive on the inside. THT, who's probably going to be driving on the inside. I mean, Chet is going to be working today. Give me Chet over 2.5 blocks at plus 115.
3 straight games he's gone over this number: 4 against the Mavericks, 6 against the Rockets, and 3 against the.
Hey man, shout out
Warriors.
to David. No man, shout out to David from Toronto. David from Toronto is watching a pick show on mute. What? How are you doing this? Are the captions good? Are the like seriously, David? Are the captions like? First of all,
I'm gonna screenshot.
What are you doing at the school? What are you doing at the school?
This is
real men of DJs. This is real men of DJs.
Yeah, that's why I screenshotted it. Yeah, I'm sending this to the bosses.
Wait, so is it a play? Like,
It probably is because I know
yo,
my niece has her Christmas pageant today, so it's probably that time of year where they're doing all those the pageants and
but you're
stuff.
watching
So
on. This is a pig show, and you're watching on mute. How do you?
maybe he has the captions on.
It's not like we're like you can't be watching the video and be like, oh, okay, they like this. Like we don't have anything going up. He's literally reading the captions on YouTube that I don't think are good. So they're probably saying we're saying some crazy things. Shout out to David, man. And yes, man, we are definitely gonna talk about the Malcolm Brogdon birthday game if he plays.
Anything else for this Jazz and Thunder game?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, we still got 4 more games to get through here. Let's go to the San Antonio Spurs. They are in my parts of the world, in Houston here. Houston, 8.5-point favorites with a total of 222.5. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the San Antonio Spurs, pretty clean injury report. It's all G League guys that are on there. For the Rockets, Dylan Brooks is questionable with the illness, but I did see he participate in shoot around. Tari Eason is questionable with the left leg soreness. And that is pretty much it. So pretty healthy squads here for both these teams. Rockets laying 8.5 at home, hosting the Spurs here. Terrell, what do you think?
No, I'm posing the question to you because I understand the Rockets are good. I understand the Rockets have been good this season, and when I say good, I mean compared to years past, this is really, really freaking good. 10-9 on the season, 500. Great job, congratulations, Munaf. 12-5-2
We're trying.
ATS this season. That is amazing. 12-5-2, amazing. Plus, I'm pretty sure like 3 of those is against the Rockets. So very, very good job, Munaf. Again, yes. 8-1-1 at home. Amazing. I mean, when's the last time the Rockets were 8-1-1 at home? ATS. Amazing. I'm 100% there for you. This San Antonio team, terrible, horrible. 8-13 against the spread, 4-6 on the road. 3-18 straight up. They've lost 14 straight, 15 straight, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
San Antonio sucks. Rockets playing very good. However, are you still laying 8.5? Because that is a lot.
The Rockets team, 8.5. I mean, what are we talking about here? 8.5 for this Rockets team. Look, you mentioned the numbers. They've been really good at home this season, right? But I mean, you take a look at some of those spreads. They've all been less than, let's see here, -5 is the biggest spread I see as a favorite for the Rockets. That was against the Memphis Grizzlies. But other than that, they've either been a underdog and they've only been favored in 3 games at home. They were a 3-point favorite against the Hornets, 3 against the Pelicans where they pushed, and then a 5-point favorite, like I mentioned, against the Grizzlies. And now they're laying 8.5 here against the Spurs. I can't do it. I think this is a closer game. These 2 teams matched up in San Antonio. That game went into overtime, and the Spurs won that game by 4 points. So I think the Rockets win the game, but I think it's closer to maybe a 5 or 6 point victory here for the Rockets. I'll take the Spurs here plus the 8.5 here. I can't lay that many points with this Rockets team. They could blow their doors out, of the arena because they've lost 14, 15 games in a row here, but I can't lay 8.5 with this team. Despite how good they are at home.
I completely get what you're saying. Understand everything you're saying. I think what it is for me is it feels like this is the moment when everybody has finally jumped on the Rockets bandwagon and they've all said we're going to start finally betting Rockets. Because I'm telling you, of that 12-5-2, people have probably only bet about 3 or 4 of those games.
Yeah.
for the Rockets. They've probably only bet about 3 or 4 of those. I think this is the game where everybody gets down on the Rockets. They say that this Spurs team is horrible, terrible, all of this, that, and the third. They're going on this terrible losing streak. The only reason that we're not talking about them more is because the Pistons exist as an organization. But this is going to be the game where they let everybody down and the Spurs get an outright win. Give me the Spurs plus 8.5 here, man. And I'm backing my guy down myself for a good game.
I mean, they haven't been bad on the road, right? I mean, so at least Spurs standards, they're 4-6 against the spread. I know they've only won 2 of their 10 games on the road, but I think when we talk about the spread here, they're covering the spread. I mean, they went into Minnesota as a 12-point dog, and they were able to cover that game. I know that was without Anthony Edwards for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I think that still speaks a little bit of volumes for me, where they were able to hold that Minnesota Timberwolves team to only 102 points in that game. So
I said the same
Yeah,
thing, and then they came and they lost to to the Bulls at home, and I gave up again. But this is another spot where I'm backing them again. I'm sorry, I'm backing them again.
Total Terrell, sitting at 225.5.
Ooh. I mean, I guess if I think the Spurs are going to win, I think it goes over.
Yeah,
I don't really think they're going to win, but I think they're going to keep it close. If I think they're going to keep it close, I think it goes over. But I'm still going to have a little bit on the money line because if they win, I want the credit.
Spurs 14-7 towards the over this season, but out on the road they're just 5-5 on the total. And Rockets at home, they've definitely been an under team. I think it's 8-2 to the under.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? I didn't notice that. Yeah, I'm with you. Under. Well, no, I mean over. I'm still going over.
Yeah, you're on the over because you like the Spurs here. I'll lean with the under here.
14-7. 14-7 to over for the Spurs.
Yeah. All right. Player props. What are you looking at? You said Vassell. Anybody else?
Yeah, Devin Vassell. What disrespect did they have for the Devin Vassell points line at now? 18.5. Okay, so they're starting to move them on up. Getting closer to that 20. It's not at 20 yet. I like Devin Vassell to go over that. Man, am I tripping or has Wemby actually been rebounding basketball lately?
Oh, well, he just had a 2020 game. Nobody was talking about it.
Yeah. He's really no, but seriously, when we look at these 7-foot centers, how many of them do we actually be like, oh man, yeah, they're gonna have a great rebounding day? Like you hear a 7-foot center and you think, oh, he should be getting 20 rebounds all the time, and they never really do it. But Wemby really turned it on the past 4 games. Really, really a lot more recently. Just listen to his rebounds: 20, 10, 11, 12, 9, 15, 3, 13, 9, 14, 11. Yeah, I mean, come on now. He's transpired from the 5-4, 6-4 that we were seeing in the beginning of the season, or stuff like that, like to the 10s and 20s now. I think you can play a Wemby rebounds prop now.
10.5 is the number I see. He had 12 in the matchup earlier against the Rockets.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like that as well. Looking at my guy Şengün in this game, he's done relatively well against the Spurs in his career. Earlier this season, he had 25 points and 14 rebounds. He's had double-digit rebounds in 3 straight games against the Spurs, 10, 14, and 14. So, hey, if you want to put another SGP together or like a rebounding prop here with Şengün and Wembanyama, I think that's a good option. My guy Mitch pointing out Jabari over 1.5 3-pointers made. Yeah, I can't argue against that. Jabari, I think he's found his role with this team now with Ime Udoka, right? And he's been able to, knock those threes down. Let me see how he's done against the Spurs. Should be at least 4 or 5 games here. He's had it. He's only had it in 2 of the 5 games, but the attempts have been there for him against the San Antonio Spurs. So, all right. Anything else for this game?
No, I like the Şengün look. Give me Şengün. Points and rebounds.
Yeah. All right. Next game of the night, we'll go over to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are in New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Pelicans sitting as a 3.5-point home favorite in this game. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards is questionable. Jaden McDaniels is questionable. Jordan McLaughlin is questionable. For the Pelicans, Larry Nance Jr. is out. And that is pretty much it. Pelicans coming off of the game on Thursday against the Lakers where they got their doors blown off. Not sure how long they stayed there or what the situation was. But,
I would have got out of there immediately. We are not staying. I don't want any of these bad vibes to follow this team around. We're getting up out of there.
Now they are back home hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves here. Terrell, what are you thinking?
I think I'm playing this the same way as I'm playing the Bucks game. You're really disappointed how that in-season tournament played out. Like, I don't think the in-season tournament really made a difference during the group stage because it's a regular season game. I think teams played, and if somebody was hurt, they missed. If they wasn't hurt, they played. Like, I think it was regular for the regular season. But when you get to Vegas, and you get embarrassed in Vegas like that, so I was sitting here, and I was talking to this girl because she was listening to the game while I was watching the game. And they said, the Pelicans now down by 30. And she said, damn, they suck. And I said, do you know how many women there are around the world that think the Pelicans suck because they just so happen to be turned on the Lakers game and they see the Lakers killing them by 30? Like, come on, this Pelicans team got to bounce back after that. This Minnesota team's been rough on the road. I know I really cooked them for being 1-5 ATS on the road, but they rolled off 3 straight win and covers on the road. This time, there is a dog. You have the Pelicans team who was really, really good at home, 9-3 at home. I think this is a pretty good bounce back spot for this Pelicans team. I'm going to take the Pelicans, get it done here, -4.
Yeah, Pelicans. The Timberwolves on the road, 7-3 straight up, but just 4-6 against the spread. And I don't think Anthony Edwards does play in this game because he did return in the last game, but he left with an injury and did not return the same hip issue. So I don't think they're going to really push Anthony Edwards to get out there. Obviously, there is a significant fall off after that offensively for this team. And I think that the Pelicans still do have the size to at least defend Karl Anthony Towns, whether you're putting Brandon Ingram's length on him, whether you're putting Zion on him. I think that obviously Valanciunas will be matched up on Rudy Gobert here tonight, but I think my more favorite play in this game is probably going to be the under. I'll lean with the Pelicans here as well, but I think that this is going to be a good defensive battle between these two teams. That number is currently sitting at 222.5. So I like the under more in this game. You have any thoughts on the total?
Just give me Pelicans team total over. You can't. You got to. If you're going to bounce back anyway, you're going to bounce back offensively. And just knowing Zion, when I don't give out Zion, he's going to come on here and he's going to have like some 25, maybe 30 points. It's going to really piss me off because you're going to sit here and you're going to think, oh man, the Timberwolves have Rudy Gobert, they have Karl Anthony Towns, they have all these bodies that they can throw at Zion, and Zion's going to have a rough day. And watch Zion probably have his best game of the season tonight when I'm not betting him because nobody ever hit Zion props. So, yeah. Give me an over. 222.5. That's why I said that.
Yeah, these two teams matched up earlier this season. And that was a 121-120 victory for the Minnesota Timberwolves in New Orleans, but that was a game where they didn't have Zion, did the Pelicans. And that was a game Anthony Edwards played 30 minutes, had 23 points in that game as well, 29 for Karl Anthony Towns in that game. So, yeah. All right. Player props.
Whew. All right. I like Brandon Ingram's assist today because I think the game goes over. Brandon Ingram, he's a really, really good assist in the basketball and having the ball in his hand and making the right decision. Like not even just having the basketball in his hand, but making the right decision, especially when the defense collapses on him and being able to get the ball to somebody open and keep possessions going. So I like Brandon Ingram over 5.5 assists today at even money. I think he can get to 6.
Okay. I was looking at Valanciunas rebounds in this game. He did have 11 in the matchup earlier this season, but he hasn't really done that well. All right. Yeah, I didn't have much for this game as far as player props. All right. 2 games left here, Terrell. Let's go over.
Let me just check one more thing. Yeah, that's what I thought. Ingram over this prop into the last 3. And what's this? 3 of the last 5 versus the Timberwolves. So just making sure I had that number right.
All right. 2 West Coast games here. Let's go over to the Brooklyn Nets. They are in Sacramento here tonight to take on the Kings. Kings are a 4.5-point favorite in this game with a total of 236. Looking at the injury report here for both of these teams. For the Brooklyn Nets, they are going to be without, obviously, Ben Simmons. Lonnie Walker is also out for this game. That's pretty much it. For the Sacramento Kings, pretty clean injury report. Malik Monk is questionable for this game. He does have an illness for the Kings. All right, Terrell, 4.5 in favor of the Kings here hosting the Brooklyn Nets. What are you thinking?
Is this a Jock Vaughn masterclass? Is this a Jock Vaughn master? Jock Vaughn, he sometimes puts together a masterclass of coaching, man. And he gets this Brooklyn Nets team wins. I'm frustrated.
6-2 ATS. I'll mention that for the Brooklyn Nets on the road, 4-4 straight up. I think they are the best team against the spread.
Yeah, 64. And I think that's what it really is. I'm trying to find ways to fade, but like, you don't fade this Brooklyn Nets team. You just don't. Jock Vaughn just coaches this team into being close into the game. Like, it doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter level of competition. May they falter at some point when they're laying a bunch of points? Yeah, but man, if they're not in this game, they are in like this. Give me the outside of 2 possessions. I think I just got to just start taking Jock Vaughn and just not question it. Give me this Nets team plus 4.5. I have been on the De'Aaron Fox for MVP wave. Once he starts, getting back going, I think he can make some noise. He's not going to win the award, but he's definitely going to make some noise and probably finish in the top 5 voting. But this Brooklyn Nets team can get up defensively. They can score a bunch of points when you need them to. Jock Vaughn literally turns it on and off when he needs this team to score and when he needs this team to play up defensively because he's a really good head coach. Like, he's a really, really good head coach. They just came off of covering 9 against the Wizards. Malik Monk questionable is enough for me. Give me the Brooklyn Nets plus the points.
Yeah, I like the Nets here. 6-2 ATS on the road, and this is a team that I don't know. A lot of people are watching their games, but even when they're down, they don't give up, man. They play the full 48 minutes, and maybe like you mentioned, that is a Jock Vaughn head coaching thing that he has his guys playing for the full 48 minutes, despite whatever the score might be. And offensively, they've been really good as well. On the road, they're averaging 100 and close to 120 points per game. I think they also have the defensive guys that really kind of slow down the Sacramento Kings. I know De'Aaron Fox is a very, very tough matchup for any team in this league, but I think for the others outside of, like Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, he has linked as well. Nick Claxton down below in the paint area. Maybe he can, really combat what Sabonis might be able to do in this game. So I think defensively, the Nets match up pretty well against Sacramento Kings team. And offensively, they just find ways, man. They have like different guys that step up every single night, guys that can knock down shots, guys that can get to the basket and finish around the rim. So I'll look at the Nets here. I'd love the Nets team total to go over in this game. I think this game does get over the total, but I think my more favorite play in this game is the Nets team total to go over here, Terrell.
Yeah, I trust the Nets a lot more. You look at the last 5 games and what these two teams are doing defensively. The Nets holding teams to 108 points per game. That is 5th best in the NBA. And you have the Sacramento Kings here who are holding teams to 120.8 points per game. That is 24th best in the NBA. They're towards the bottom of the league. They haven't been playing good defensively at all. They've been giving up a lot of points all over the court. You look at over the last 5 games and what this team has done in terms of points in the paint. And opponents' points in the paint. And opponents' points in the paint, they're giving up. Oh, well, they're doing a little bit better. But then they were 24 in points in the paint as well. They're now up to 18. So they started defending the paint area a little bit better, but they're still giving up a lot of points. And I think that this Brooklyn Nets team is going to be able to find ways. And you have Bridges, who's played this Kings team a lot. So, former West Coast player on an East Coast team now, going back West Coast, playing teams he's familiar with. Good little spot to back up points over for Mikal Bridges. I like this Brooklyn Nets team. And Cam Johnson as well.
I was looking at, I think somebody mentioned the chat, Nick Claxton rebounds in this game. Last season, these two teams matched up. Claxton had 14 points, 14 rebounds in that game. And then again, the Sacramento Kings are giving up about 14 rebounds per game to that center position as well. So do like Nick Claxton rebounds in this game. You mentioned Mikal Bridges. I think that's a great look as well. That's all I had for this game. What are you looking at for player props?
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I do like Bridges. He has 23, 13. He has 0, but he only played 6 minutes that game and 27 in his last 3 games against the Kings. One of those games was with Brooklyn, that 23-point game. So he's had a 27-point game against them. Now, granted, that was 50 minutes of game time. But Mikal Bridges plays all the time. He doesn't miss a game. He plays as much as he can. So, Cam Johnson, is the next name that I'm looking for here that I think is going to have a pretty solid game tonight. I'm backing the former Suns in this game. Cam Johnson, 10 and 12 over his last two games against them, but those have been relatively when he's still trying to find his role in the offense. He's started to find himself a little bit more with this Brooklyn Nets team. I think that he can be able to have a pretty solid game today. I'll probably take his threes and not points, but I do like Cam Johnson as well.
All right. Anything else for this game?
I do like Keegan threes as well. Keegan threes is honestly an auto play because he's going to take 10 or 12 like every single game.
Yeah.
Like he has a great light. He has a great light.
Yeah, I think it was the game against the Pelicans where he started like 3 of 3 in the first quarter, and then he fell off a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think that's why they really brought him in to be that, that spot up 3-point shooter, especially from the corners for the Kings. All right, last game of the night here, Terrell. We've got the Portland Trailblazers. They are headed to LA to take on the Clippers. Clippers are sitting as a 13-point favorite in this game with a total of 220. Looking at the injury report for both of these teams, for the Portland Trailblazers, a lot of questionable tags here. So DeAndre Ayton questionable, Malcolm Brogdon is questionable, Jeremy Grant is out for this game. For the for the Clippers, everybody is healthy. Only person that is out is Mason Plumlee. He is dealing with that left MCL sprain, who's been out for several weeks. But healthy squad here for the Clippers. Minus 13 in favor of the LA Clippers here, hosting the Portland Trailblazers. Terrell, what are you thinking?
All right, let me see here. I am curious about something. 2, 2. Whoa, 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 whoa. Everything's moving on me. All right, there we go. 1, 2. What's that? 1, 2, 4, and 2, 5, and 2. Okay, that's what I thought because I felt like that there was something here because there's been too many times we've had this situation. The Portland Trailblazers are 5-2 ATS when they're catching double digits or more this season. They covered 10 against Toronto. They did not cover 10 against Cleveland. They covered 12 against Phoenix. They did not cover 12 against Phoenix. They lost that game by 13, actually. They covered 13 against Milwaukee. They covered 12 against Indiana, an outright win. They covered 12 against Cleveland, an outright win. And they covered 12.5 against Golden State recently. Now it's at 13. And we have a Clippers team that I already don't trust. And I have recommended that we just not bet. However, Clippers have dominated this matchup for the most part. They've won the last 5 games, covered 3 of the last 5. However, you can't take this Clippers team. You can't lay double digits with this Clippers team. I don't know how you can. I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. 5-2 against the spread as a double-digit favorite. Is this? I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to play Portland, and we'll talk about it next episode if this is right again, because this seems like it's a pretty decent trend. 5-2 ATS.
Yeah, I'm not laying no 13 points here with the Clippers. I mean, you mentioned I think the impressive part of this Blazers team was that when they went that East Coast trip and they were pretty much double-digit underdogs in every single one of those games, they covered the spread, actually won some of those games outright. They've gotten Anthony Simons back. They've gotten a couple other guys back. A lot of some questionable tags here tonight for this Blazers team with Ayton and with Malcolm Brogdon, but Shane Sharp has been playing well, like I mentioned, and Anthony Simons, like I mentioned, they got him back. He's been playing well as well. So I think this is a game where, look, even if the Clippers get out to a double-digit lead in that fourth quarter, I feel like this is going to be a game where they are going to backdoor this spread here of 13. But there's no way in hell I am laying 13 points here with the LA Clippers. Just because you mentioned that with the inconsistencies and how bad this team has been. So give me the plus 13 here for the Blazers. Total 220 here, Terrell. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'll go over. If I think the Blazers are going to keep it close, they probably score a bunch of points. Give me the over.
All right. Yeah, I was indifferent. I know the Clippers at home this season, the under is 7-1-2. They're holding opponents 103 points per game in that span. But yeah, I think this might be I'll lean with the under just based off of how good they've been defensively at home. Might be just an off night here for the Clippers. All right, player props. Malcolm Brogdon. It is the birthday game, but he is officially listed as questionable here tonight. I believe it's a hamstring it's right knee soreness for Malcolm Brogdon here tonight. So keep that in mind if you want to bet the birthday props here. But anything else you're looking at in this game?
Yeah, assists, Malcolm Brogdon birthday props, assist, and double whenever, if he plays. I think that's the way to look at it, his assist and potential double play there with him. It's not really any props for the Trailblazers, which is actually annoying because I don't want to back. Yeah, I don't have anything. I'm waiting for Trailblazers props because give me. I think Simons can have a pretty decent game here.
Yep.
I would love Ayton if he played, man. But I don't even know if
he's questionable.
Play. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to play, but I think Ayton could have a pretty solid game against Zubac. Zubac really hasn't been, that good defensively, honestly. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, I wanted the Simons prop as well, but that's not listed yet just because all the questionable tags, like we mentioned, for the Portland Trail Blazers. But Simons, he did have a 37-point game last season against the Clippers, followed up with 16 and 18. So I'll wait for the Simons props to come out. That's definitely going to be 20 plus here tonight against the Clippers. All right, Terrell, that is 13 games in the books here, hour 40 into the pod here. Let's get to our lock and dog for tonight, and then we will do our underdog fantasy entry here. You want to lead us off with your lock and dog?
Yeah, for my lock. Let's see. I think the Bucks are going to blow out the Bulls. Got a lot of games. Got to try to go back and remember what I really, really liked over the course of this show. I do think the Raptors are going to get a win today. So, how chalk do we want to go? Man, I really think they're going to dog this Bulls team. And everybody betting the Bulls is just like, it feels like this is the public saying, we just saw this team go to overtime, and now you're telling me we're getting double digits. This is the double-digit spread you should not be worried about. The double-digit spread you should be worried about is the Clippers. The Clippers is the one you should be worried about. This is not the one to be sitting here thinking about. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just trust the Milwaukee Bucks to do it. This is a really large spread for me to be laying for my lock, but it feels so good because I really think they're going to dog them by 20 today. Give me the Milwaukee Bucks minus 11.5. That's my lock.
All right.
For my dog, I actually really like New Orleans too, but I can't lock up New Orleans. They make me pay whenever I lock them up. Let's go with 145 for the Toronto Raptors to get it done at Madison Square Garden on the money line. Is there anything else I like more than that? I do like Charlotte, but Charlotte is a little cheap. Of course, I love Portland. I also like San Antonio. Yeah, no, I'll go with the Raptors. Raptors been playing pretty decently. And it just seems like the Knicks to lose to a sub-500 team at home. So, yeah, Raptors plus 145.
All right. For my lock, I will go with... Give me the Brooklyn Nets plus 4.5. I think they just match up really well against this Kings team. Wouldn't be surprised if they won this game outright, but I mean, they have guys that can, number one, defend on that team. Guys, you have different guys that can score the basketball as well. I think this is a good spot here. Outside of 4 points here, I think they can definitely keep this within the number and possibly win an outright as well. So give me the Nets plus the 4.5.
Yep.
Alluded to it earlier, man. Luka triple doubles at plus 210, especially without Kyrie there. I have to take that every single day of the week. We talked about some of the other injuries as well on that Mavs team, right? Grant Williams is out, Maxi Kleber is out. So I think that Luka, the usage rate, number one, is going to be through the roof. And anything north of plus 200 to get a triple double on Luka, I will take that plus 210 as my dog. Nothing really else excited me as far as a dog on the card. Yeah, I'll stick with that. Luka plus 210 triple double here tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies. All right, Terrell, let's put together our underdog fantasy entry here for tonight before we wrap up the show. Again, if you don't have an account at Underdog Fantasy, make sure you go to underdogfantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN. get you a 100% deposit bonus of up to $100. Again, underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. All right, Terrell, where do we want to start off our entry here for tonight?
I mean, it's so many good options. It's so many good options. I mean, Joel is there for the taking. We have a couple of birthday games we could back. Bridges, I think that's where I want to start. Give me Miles Bridges, 20.5. I think he could go over that today against this Miami team. In a game that Charlotte has always plays them kind of tough, and Bridges shooting 50% this season, like he's come back and he's been really, really good, man. It's just hard to ignore. I'll take Bridges 20.5 higher.
All right. We'll start it with that. Let's throw in Wembanyama rebounds 10.5.
Let's see. Do they have that Knicks game up still? Let's see if they sleep it on the Knicks game before we do that, because they did say, yeah, Hartstein 9. His rebounds is at 9 higher.
All right, let's go there.
Or because Mitch is out for a while.
Yeah.
Do you think Hartstein can get 10 points? Can he get the double-double is 2.5x higher. 2.5x for the can he get to 10 points?
So the only thing that concerns me is that he's only averaging 2.8 field goal attempts per game, and he hasn't been in double-digit points only 3 times in the 20-some-odd games that he's played this season. That's the only pushback I would have.
Okay. Understandable. We could stick with the rebounds. I was throwing it out there because I see 2.5 and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that would catch my attention as well. For sure.
So higher 9 rebounds. I like that.
All right. You want to go Şengün or you want to go Wemby? I think because we think we both agreed on that one. Or do you want to go Bobby Portis double 3x?
They're playing with. Okay, so this is what you do. Don't take Bobby Portis now, but take Bobby Portis and Hartstein in one, and just throw $10 on it. That's gotta pay. Okay. I'm gonna do that right now. And tell you what it pays. That's our risky one. So we'll give out 2. That's the risky one.
Okay.
Because if Hartstein gets to those 10 points, like if they dump off to him or anything, he gets those 10 points. I know that double-double is live. All right, who was the other person we just said again?
Bobby Portis.
Backup centers for double-doubles is fun. 22.5x. $10 gets you $225. I'm going to put that in real quick. I like those 2 spicy plays. All right, back to what we were doing. We had Hartstein higher than 9. We had Miles Bridges 20.5. We put Portis and Hartstein in the. I mean, we can go Vucevic. We could go or Giannis in that Bulls game.
Giannis is at 32. And yeah, I'm worried about the blowout factor in that game because like you said,
you're right. Blowout. You're right. Nah, you're right. It definitely could be. I need to actually make a slip that has a blowout. It has a bunch of unders because they blow them out.
What about Wemby or Şengün?
Yeah, let's go with. So we're going to the Rockets game. Wemby or Şengün? I feel like everybody's going to be on Wemby. Let's go with Şengün.
All right, points and rebounds?
Yeah.
All right, we'll throw that in there. All right, so let me take.
Points and rebounds at 32.5 higher.
All right, so we got Miles Bridges, higher 20.5 points. We got Isaiah Hartenstein, higher 9 rebounds. And then Şengün against the Spurs, 32.5 points, rebounds, higher 32.5. That $100 entry will get you $600. And then also the bonus one, Terrell mentioned, the spicy ones with Bobby Portis double-double and Isaiah Hartenstein double-double. That is around 22.5. So $10 gets you $225. Yep. All right. Perfect. Our 13 game schedule in the association here tonight. Back to regular programming with the NBA in-season tournament behind us. Terrell, anything else you want to mention, my man, before we get out of here?
Shout out to Yeet Ron, Raptors bottom 10 and allowing second chance points. Hartstein could get a bunch of putbacks today. Man, I'm ready to. I need to see what the books actually have his double line at. I feel like that's not going to be underpriced.
Oh, you coffers in the chat there. All right, what's up? What's up, RC? You coffer. All right. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow between myself and Scott. But a lot of opportunities to make money here tonight. And definitely again bet responsibly. But we will be back tomorrow. Terrell, any parting words?
I will say this: like our listeners do be on stuff. They said that the Nets got the Suns on deck. I didn't realize that. That is a very good reason not to take the Nets today. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, the Nets have.
They got the Suns on deck. That is a very good reason not to take the Nets today. If you don't want to take the Nets because of that, I completely understand. I still like the Nets because I think they're good and I think they can keep it close. But that is a very good reason not to take them if you don't want to take them.
Is it a back-to-back game or is it on Wednesday?
I think it's on Wednesday. Let me see. Yeah, because they got they have the Warriors.
Yeah, it's on Wednesday.
Tomorrow.
They have a day off in between it.
Oh, the Nets are winning that game. Suns coming off a game with the Warriors. The Nets are going to win that game. Maybe the Nets do lose this game because they're 100% beating the Suns.
I'll stick with it. All right. Make sure to follow Terrell on Twitter and Instagram at reallyreal__. You can follow me on Twitter at sportsnerd824. Back tomorrow, same time, same place for the Tuesday games with myself and Scott. Till then, good luck with your bets here tonight. Let's break these books off and let it ride.